Welcome, my 14 subscribers, everyone on Wrestling Reddit, everyone in those sub for sub, like for like, comment for comment pages, also everyone on Wrestling Amino, and everyone that I forced this video upon. Welcome to my review of Pro Wrestling Noah Dream On Final 2022, or the Dream On Night 4, as I call it. So let's begin. So the first match is a one-sided destruction of Kinya Okada by former GHC heavyweight champion until it was vacated, Kazuyuki Fujita. This is the first time I've watched him wrestle, and he's still pretty agile for someone his age. Because if you watch the New Japan dads, especially like Yuji Nagata, Manabu Nakanishi, even Tiger Mask, they really can't move as much as Fujita can here. Like right here when Fujita does a takedown on Okada, real nice, and props to Okada for selling as well as he did. But I guess if you're in the ring with someone who's that legit, that large, like you can't help but sell, or he's gonna make you sell. The end of the match is a single leg crab for the submission, and this isn't really that spectacular. It's more like a workout match for Fujita since he was out for COVID. He wasn't able to wrestle for like weeks now, and I don't know if it's just me, but the crowd reaction was very poor for this match. Even after Fujita won, like the crowd was fucking dead. I know they're not allowed to like cheer or anything, but at least clap, and I heard no claps from Fujita winning. The only time the audience clapped was when Kinya Okada went to do anything. And remember, this is the former GHC heavyweight champion who was sidelined because of COVID. I mean, we should expect more cheers from a return, basically, than like this. Where like there was no reaction. Everyone was silent. Even if someone is a heel, at least fucking clap for his victory, but no. There's something wrong here. I have a feeling that Go is going to be dropping that championship soon, even if like I just got here and I want to see a Go Shiozaki title reign because he's the current ace and he's the most suitable figurehead for the company. An attractive young male who speaks really well and is still very good in the ring. While Fujita is sort of an ugly bastard from hentai, if you know the tags. And yeah, to young viewers, I think that's one contributor to his heelishness. He's the ugly bastard who's gonna get your girl. But again, if you think about it, Japan's population is aged. There are a lot more old people than there are like children. So I guess if you want to go for that demographic, have Fujita as your champion. But for me, if you want to get on New Japan's level, then build a young champion. Build on Go Shiozaki, or Katsuhiko Nakajima, Keno, or Kaito Kiyomiya, or hell, even Naomichi Marufuji. Let's have like a nostalgia run with him. If you want to get that like female demographic, then yeah, push the young and attractive dudes over the ugly bastards. Build them into draws and stop relying on draws of the past. Because you don't know, you might lose them to a bigger company like New Japan, like Dragon Gate, or even one of your allies like fucking DDT. Or maybe a company abroad with an over-bloated roster but would love to have these young talents, but they'll still let you use these people. Or worst case scenario, the largest company in the world, who probably will never let you use any of these talent again. Okay, so match number 2 is Junta Miyawaki and Yoshiki Inamura versus Daiki Inaba and Kai Fujimura. And you know what? This is the real opening match here. This pumped up the crowd a whole lot hell more than the last one. Junta Miyawaki stole the show here, showing that he could be a future ace. Had like 0 botches and everything he did looked good. They all maintain a moderate to fast pace, and all of them sold very well. Especially Yoshiki Inamura. Like, hot take, but I think he's better than Masaki Tamiya. This guy here sold the shit out of everyone's moves. He like yelled his lungs out. Also, those facial expressions, 100% expressed pain. My favorite sell that he did was the one from the double suplex, and he like did this sort of pose where he asked for the wrestling gods for like more power. Awesome selling from a big guy, and also very expressive with his arms. It's really good. And everything he does is impactful as fuck. Unlike Masa, who kind of moves like an Ishii, but has less impact on his moves. He works heavier than Inamura here. And as for Daiki Inaba, he's too old to be in matches like this. This guy is like a ready product here, and I wish he was contending for a belt instead. But yeah, he's a finished product. He sells well. He delivers his moves convincingly. But my one pet peeve of him is that his posture, it's like he's leaning, he's like a leaning Tower of Pisa. And the way he delivers his sidewalk slam backbreaker, it like slows down, but it still looks alright. Even level 1 young lion here, who has his black trunks on, Kai Fujimura, gets enough offense off, gets enough of his like young lion arsenal off to matter. Even if he is like the punching bag of the team. Yeah, this match was really entertaining. The finish is Inamura does a spinning scoop slam on Miyawaki. He kicks out for 2, and then Inamura here. He does a running power slam to the turnbuckle, spins back, and then to the floor. After that, he sets up for the pounce. I think it's a pounce, where he runs back and forth on the ropes, and then delivers a shoulder block that knocks Miyawaki on his ass. He even does a flip cell. This looked devastating, and it's enough for Inamura to get the 3 count for the win. Great match. So the next match, match number 3, is maybe the most dramatic match I've seen the whole week. It's certainly the most tragic among all these matches in Night 4. We have Mohamed Yone of Funky Express against Shuhei Taniguchi, formerly known as King Tani, a former member of Funky Express, and oh my god. This match was so hard-hitting. The forearms were so loud. Like, they barely did anything. The most highest impact move was probably the power slam by Shuhei Taniguchi. And actually, everything they did here was, like, so high impact, so loud. They have this clothesline battle that, like, ends in a tie. So the story of the match is basically the breakup between these two. Shuhei Taniguchi is trying to beat the Funky out of himself. Sounds wrong, but he does this by kicking the shit out of Mohamed Yone. And Yone over here is like smiling, being all funky. He does his like funky pose to get Shuhei out of his game or like somehow bring him back to his side, but no. They both get super serious and have those clothesline battles and forearm battles that last like a minute or 2. This might be the best match between 2 Japanese company dads, like dad-level wrestlers, I've ever seen. They work at a sluggish pace. It was so slow, but everything was so deliberate and so intense. The finish of the match is like this submission move where it's kind of like a variation on the camel clutch, but Yone's hand is being held over his head, and this gets Taniguchi the tap-out finish. And after this, they show respect to each other, they shake hands, all good, just Taniguchi doesn't want to be funky anymore. I don't know about this booking. I don't know if, like, what Taniguchi can do away from this team, since he's always been like a low-carder. Funky Express made him more endearing to the fans since it gave him a character, like a lovable character, but now he's just like this badass vanilla Japanese wrestler, and yeah, it's kind of sad. I actually wanted Yone to win because he has a better character. He probably can sell more merch because of his character, because of the gimmick. And yeah, I don't know where Taniguchi goes from here. But moving on back to the match. Real good match, very dramatic. This is the most dramatic match I've seen this week among all companies. Yeah, this one, thumbs up. This is like a pay-per-view undercard match, which it is, but it could be a main event to a minor show. Fucking great match. The fourth match is between the Noah Juniors, so that's Daisuke Harada, Atsushi Kotoge, Yohei, and Haoh, versus Tadasuke, Hajime Ohara, Hiroki, and Shuji Kondo. And you know what? I think I've seen this combination. This might be, yeah, this is the third time I've seen this like match between these two factions, just with mixed up people. Plus minus Keno and Nakajima, but here we have a new member for Kongo, and that's Shuji Kondo. And again, we get the usual lovable trio from Kongo. But this is more of a showcase of what Shuji Kondo can do, their newest member, not only because he got the pin, he also sold a lot, and basically I was impressed with him the whole match. And yeah, we get the usual stuff from most of these guys. Haoh shined the most from the junior side, while the new guy, Shuji Kondo, for Kongo. We also get an in-match story between the two where Shuji Kondo, while being in the ring with Harada, tries to knock off the juniors off their corner, but Haoh stays on. So this pisses him off, and like, I don't know if this is a shoot. I don't know if like this is this guy sandbagging someone for not selling for him, but I thought that at first. But no. I mean, it looked pretty planned. How Haoh sold when he was finally knocked off was really nice. And so Shuji Kondo chased him down and threw him over the barricades. And then we get the payback from Haoh when the juniors do the spot of the night. This one right here. They do this double-sided enziguri plus super kick combination, and then Haoh drop kicks Kondo in the back of the head. Kongo still does their usual like shenanigans, but the other members were less pronounced. We don't get Tadasuke's usual stuff, but that's alright. That's not the point of the match. But yeah, and then the finish is a well set up running lariat by Kondo for the win, and that's pretty much the match. It's an average TV level match, and for me it's like a come down match from the last one, which was like next level amazing. So yeah. The next match is a 6-man tag team match, again with members of Kongo, but this time the upper leadership. We have Masakatsu Funaki, Katsuhiko Nakajima, and Manabu Soya versus Sugiura-gun, Takashi Sugiura, Hideki Suzuki, and Masaaki Mochizuki. And as someone who enjoys watching competitive games, because I suck at them, there was some really nice game planning here. Like, so we have like two teams with the same styles, basically. So Masakatsu Funaki and Hideki Suzuki are like technical grapplers, catch as catch can. Katsuhiko Nakajima and Masaaki Mochizuki are strikers. But Nakajima's just better because he destroys the shit out of Mochizuki early on. And Manabu Soya and Takashi Sugiura are the power dudes. So we start off with the two strikers, with Nakajima easily destroying Mochizuki. Like a few kicks, and that's all it takes. And what I really like comes right after this, because Mochizuki tags in Hideki Suzuki, and it looks like Nakajima's gonna engage him again, just like their singles match before Majestic. But that match ended in a draw, so I don't think he wants to engage Suzuki right now, so he tags in the power guy, Manabu Soya, who completely negates whatever Suzuki was gonna do. Like, Soya just overpowers every lockup, every attempt for a submission, every attempt for a takedown, every lockup. This guy just dominates the shit out of Suzuki. And there's this one part where They end up in the Kongo corner, and Soya was about to tag Funaki, but doesn't, and just continues to dismantle Suzuki, not allowing him to fully pin him down, because that's what this guy does. He bogs you down with all of his catch wrestling, all of his holds. He like expends all your energy while he's just like sitting there. But not against Soya, not against the bigger dude.
Yes.
So Suzuki's forced to disengage and tag in Takashi Sugiura, who is
For pro wrestling.
the most powerful wrestler in this match. So Soya, knowing that he's outmatched, he then tags in Kongo's Dare. He tags in Masakatsu Funaki,
Strikes.
part founder of Pancrase, former MMA champion, and now legit badass, and is also the GHC national champion. This guy just overpowers their strongest guy. So like Kongo outclasses Sugiura Gun like in every level in this match. Because like of course Funaki goes for his grappling, and this negates Sugiura's power. Like he can do nothing. He could do nothing in this match. And then they go for strikes where Funaki just slaps the shit out of Sugiura that are clearly real slaps. These are shoot slaps, and then Sugiura responds with like hard worked elbows. And this does nothing to Funaki. This ends with Funaki getting Sugiura in a choke and then actually choking him out. But the ref doesn't stop the match. Holy shit, this match. And so the other members of Sugiura Gun managed to like have the ref wave off the decision and then pull back their leader to their corner and then tag him out. But before they do, they fucking revive him, and while I was watching, I thought these guys were done for the night. So then Nakajima and Suzuki are tagged in. They flip each other off while Nakajima is on the top rope. And then they have a strike battle. Suzuki totally abandons his like tactics, his catch as catch can, and he loses the strike battle. And I was like, just end the match. Like, there was nothing this team can do. But then, how they finish this is very interesting, because they basically steal a win here. So Suzuki and Sugiura get inside the ring. They take out the two members, the two non-legal members of Kongo. So they throw Funaki out. He sells the knee badly, but the guy doesn't really need to sell, while Sugiura throws out Nakajima. So these guys triple team Soya, they soften him up, but then they're eventually taken out as well. So Soya here is vulnerable. He just got rocked, but he's still in control of the match. So he goes for his Death Valley driver, he sets up for his running lariat, and then Mochizuki somehow, he blocks this with his leg. He slaps the life out of Soya, and then he goes for a head kick for the win. What a match this is. There was tactics and planning used by the two teams. And then basically there were three styles in play in this match that one team just seemed to be just better at. And then Masakatsu Funaki looked so legit here. He choked out a former heavyweight champion. I don't know who this guy's gonna drop it to. When the time comes, I don't know who will take the belt from him. Maybe they'll just vacate it, I don't know. Maybe he'll never lose it, ever. They'll just retire it and make a new belt. But yeah, this match could have been a main event in a minor show. This is also like, for me, a pay-per-view upper card match. In terms of quality and realism, actually. Like, this felt so fucking real. If some old head is gonna like insult Japanese wrestling like they usually do, just show them this match. Make an account for them, because they probably don't know how to make an account for Wrestle Universe, and then since it's free, just let them watch it. This is next level shit. And yeah, one more thing. Remember in Dream On Night 1, Soya carried Nakajima out. This time, Nakajima gave Soya a piggyback ride. The broship between these two is just mwah. Match number 6 is the second out of the 3 singles matches in the entire show. This is between Keno, who is the leader of Kongo, so he's accompanied by the juniors of his team, so Hiroki, Tadasuke, and Hajime Ohara, versus Simon Gotch, who enters alone as the new foreigner, and he's a bit cocky in this match. And that's basically the story of this entire match. It's Simon Gotch being cocky, like before everything's finished, before he gets a win, while Keno being cocky after he gets a win. And this was a foregone conclusion because Keno is a leader of a faction, he is higher up the card, and because of that, this was a more Keno-dominated match, unlike the match that Gotch had with Kiyomiya, because that one, they were more evenly matched. They could do more interesting things, while in this one, this was more ground-based. It was a hell of a lot more tame, and this was, for me, like basically just like storytelling, and it was meant to set up for a more meaningful match with Tadasuke, who is a lackey basically, the wild card of Kongo. So Gotch basically does his more iconic stuff, like the European uppercuts and then the drop kick, as well as the unique counter to the head scissors that he does. There was a lot less impact moves here. So in other storytelling type matches, they usually work on one specific body part, but here there was none of that. It was all over, but the story was Simon Gotch being a cocky prick. So this guy did things like fake shaking hands and then giving him the bird. They also do this wrist lock exchange and then giving him the bird. There was a lot of flipping off in this match. And then Gotch did this headstand near Keno that kind of looked like an erection. And for the build-up to like a future feud with Tadasuke, Keno pulls Simon Gotch off of the apron. Gotch does a big jump here, he falls on the ground. And then Keno sort of calls Tadasuke to give Simon Gotch the bird on the floor. And then Gotch spits on him and Tadasuke sells this like hell. And they do this after the match too. Like, after Keno ends the match with a leg stomp on Simon Gotch's ass, and then followed up by his choke, his Dojime choke. He then offers the hand to Gotch. It looks like he's trying to invite him in the faction in Kongo. But then he pulls it back, and then Tadasuke flips him off again, and then he spits on Tadasuke again, and then again Tadasuke sells this. The match between these two is going to be awesome, but I don't think this is the last that Keno has seen of Gotch, because I think this guy's going to run through all of Kongo. He's probably going to lose all of those matches against the higher up members in the hierarchy, but it's a nice story, and I'm on board, but Keno and Nakajima should really be doing better things, like challenging and winning titles. So yeah, this was, I'm sorry to say, it's just like an average TV match that could be a main event or a co-main event on a minor show. This was just mainly for setup for Simon Gotch's future encounters with this faction. And yeah, we get a Tadasuke feud, a singles feud with Tadasuke. That's a plus. The seventh match on the card is for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. And both of the teams competing are all members of the Stinger faction. So this is Yoshinari Ogawa and Chris Ridgway, the defending champs. And on the other corner, their opponents, Saiki Yoshioka and Yuya Susumu. And this was the most interesting and well-built feud coming into the show. And this is basically an intra-factional like civil war storyline where the leader refuses to side with one specific group. Like Hayata flip-flops between the two teams. He like sided last with Ogawa and Ridgway, but there wasn't really they didn't really come into blows with each other. Like Hayata. So remember, there was a great build coming in, and then the match itself actually delivered more than what I expected. Like, basically, if it wasn't for one important part of the match, probably the most important part of the match, this would have been my match of the night. And that part was the ending that I'll get to later. So these two teams are weird. So they're junior teams, and then they don't perform any double team maneuvers. Unlike like the Bullet Club teams, like any of the New Japan teams, any of like the Western Company teams, who all do like double team maneuvers, like FTR does it the best. But here they like wrestle separately, but they make it work for this one. This was all storytelling. So basically, Ridgeway's and Ogawa's plan, like I think like they talked about this in kayfabe before the match, that in Innovation, in May 15 Innovation, Ridgeway managed to take advantage of Saiki Yoshioka's legs, and that's exactly what they did here. Yoshioka was in the ring for the longest time. Like, among all of these four dudes, he was there, and Yoshioka and Ridgeway worked on his legs non-stop. Like, Susumu got his offense in, but he isn't that spectacular. I've yet to see, like, an amazing performance from Susumu. It's just like he's there to be Saiki's teammate. It's a sad to say, but yeah, he's dressed like Seth Rollins, and he kind of does a lot of what Seth Rollins does. And then here I finally saw what Ogawa can do, and he's awesome at it. Ridgeway is awesome as usual. And yeah, every time Saiki's in the ring, especially like opening the match when he was the first one in, they just worked on his leg the whole time with different holds, some strikes, and they even like threw his leg on the floor. It was a thrill ride that was tense as fuck and is completely far and apart from what I usually watch, where the tension is derived from other things. But here, you could feel Yoshioka's health bar drop. It's like you could feel that little marker go all the way to red. Like in the old WWE games where that's like the mechanic, where you move this bar all the way to the give up. And you can especially feel this after Susumu tags in Yoshioka, because Susumu just like stays outside the whole time. He manages to save Yoshioka once, but that's it. Yoshioka was pretty much on his own this entire time, while Ridgeway and Ogawa just tore and tore and tore through his legs. And then they managed to get him, Ogawa managed to get him in a figure 4 leg lock for like a long time. This was like a minute plus. And like Yoshioka couldn't move anywhere. He couldn't turn the submission over. It was either feint or tap or wait for Susumu to save. And Susumu was taking his damn time because he never went for the save. So I thought this guy's gonna tap, or he might like somehow fucking reach the ropes or like anything. Or maybe Hayata could come in and save his boys. But no, he was in the submission for good till the end of the match. But then these three fucking assholes from a faction I don't give a shit about that put me to sleep in this whole month I've been watching Pro Wrestling Noah. My match of the night was ruined by Perros del Mal de Japón, Nosawa Rongai, Kotaro Suzuki, and Eita. And like, I don't think they're bad. I mean, I think Nosawa's bad, but I really haven't seen Kotaro Suzuki and Eita wrestle. But they cause the disqualification. They break up the submission. They beat everyone up. It's basically declaring war on Stinger. And they toss them all out of the ring. After that, these guys bring out some ugly ass looking 6-man tag team titles. So these titles mean less than the junior heavyweight ones. And these titles are from another company, from Dragon Gate. So what they did is basically gain heat by ruining a great match and not attacking like a bunch of baby faces. Like, because none of the Stinger people were like exceptionally likable. Like, they were all pretty much heels. And Perros, who are also a bunch of heels, who are more hated, and not just because they're good heels. It's because like it's kind of go away heat. Everyone hates Wrong Guy for like his booking, and they attack another heel faction, effectively turning them babyface, all of them. It just sucks. Who actually gives a shit about this faction here? They kind of looked cool when they had Yohei, but now they're kind of boring. They fucking put me to sleep, remember? But yeah, this was very, very dumb. They should have just interrupted another faction, maybe the Harada one. God damn it, this one just ruined this match for me. They should have just left the fucking company. So yeah, let's move on. All right, so match number 8 is for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Championship, and it's between Hayata and Extreme Tiger. And after weeks of trying to look for the reason why Hayata is the current champion, I still don't see it that much. But he did have a good match here. It's just he's not like someone who can carry a division like Hiromu, like Kushida, like Ishimori, or even Desperado. You know what? He's kind of like Desperado. He kind of needs good opponents to have great matches, and his opponent here, Extreme Tiger, was pretty good. He was pretty fucking good, and they managed to put on like a TV main event match. This was not as intense as the last match. That one like had me on the edge of my seat. While this one, it's kind of like a conventional junior heavyweight match. A lot of flashy stuff from Extreme Tiger, and Hayata does his own share of like crazy stuff as well. He does this drop kick off the second rope, followed by a beautiful outside dive. Spot of the match was definitely when Hayata went for a baseball slide, and then Extreme Tiger catches him in a fireman's carry position. He drapes him on the railings, and then he goes for a diving leg drop on Hayata's like upper back. While a close second is when Extreme Tiger does the same thing that Simon Gotch does. Like this, a sort of weird pin here, and then Hayata just does a sit-up, and then he escapes the move. And I also want to point out this outside dive here, because it's one of those outside dives where the guy outside manages to get out of the way, but then Extreme Tiger transitions to Hayata's new location, and then we don't get to see how long Hayata gets the move. We don't see if he's facing the ring or if he's like waiting, which it looks like he does, but we don't see it as the fans. Like, we only get to focus on Extreme Tiger as he does the dive on Hayata. Because we get a lot of spots where people just wait around to be dived on, and yeah, this one here looked nice. It's a nice way to get around that sort of thing. So the finish of the match is Hayata does a Frankensteiner on Extreme Tiger on the second turnbuckle, and then while Extreme Tiger is kneeling, Hayata does another Frankensteiner and then ends the match. But, I mean, while in a kneeling position, it doesn't really look that devastating. Extreme Tiger here sold it as best as he can. You know what? After saying all of that, this match deserves to be here. It's a pay-per-view undercard match, which it is. But like maybe like a little bit in the middle and not in the upper card. So yeah. And then after this, Hayata gets the mic, and then he cuts a promo, he raises the belt, and he has this sort of weird Batman-like voice. And yeah, he's like an edgy Trevor Lawrence with a Batman voice. So yeah, next match. And fuck, I just noticed that there are a lot of empty seats in this arena, and that's kind of sad. There are maybe like 1,000 people here in my estimation, and yeah, the capacity of the stadium is like 4,000, and yeah, I hope Cyberfight does better and they manage to fill out more of the Saitama Super Arena. So yeah, so next match. So for the penultimate match, this is for the GHC Tag Team Championship. It's between Le Mexicanas, or Rene Dupree and Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Michael Elgin and Masa Kitamiya. Okay, so I was spoiled for the results of this match. I saw a picture of this, and the result kind of pissed me off because Michael Elgin and Masa Kitamiya just became a tag team. Like, the only team they beat was Nakajima and Soya, and I think they should have just, like, beaten a couple of more teams, like built them up a bit more before they got the titles here. Or maybe like win it in a rematch against these guys. Like have Renee and Wagner's grandchild like have a longer title reign because they just came back. They just won it from their faction leader. Like the faction leader and his cadet, basically. There wasn't really much build up for when they got it, and the build up here is like they had matches with each other. They had singles matches with each other. But I don't think that's enough for a newly formed team to be given the titles like right away. Because Les Mexicanas are a cohesive unit. And Kitamiya and Elgin are starting to become one as well. They have like both teams have double team moves. This is like two of the only like cohesive teams in the whole roster, and I was hoping they would just prolong this feud. Have Kitamiya and Elgin like work for it. Like have him go through a lot of people. Maybe have them go through Nakajima and Soya again, or like Keno and Nakajima, or hell, have them go against Sugiura and Suzuki to get this match here. But when I saw the actual match, holy fucking shit, this was really good. This was like the show stealer match of the entire show, because these guys like threw everything, including the kitchen sink. And I said in a previous review that I thought Dupree was more of the support and Wagner Jr. is the DPS. And for Wagner, that's still true. But Dupree here was the fucking tank. He dished out a lot of damage, including this like awesome looking running dropkick right on Kitamiya's face. And he also like sells everything, just like he said in the podcast. And as for Wagner, he took most of the beating, but he did manage to do his like usual stuff. He does his nice outside dive, and he also does a Hurricane Rana on Elgin. Like, it looked like it was gonna be a power bomb from the top, but it was then turned into a Hurricane Rana, and it looked nice. And as for Elgin, again, never disappoints, except for the last Dream On show where it ended in a double countout. But here, he is his usual high-impact power guy self. And yeah, his best spot here is the released German suplex from the top turnbuckle. And as for Masakita Miya, he works better in a tag team because everything is not focused on him. And here, he didn't have to sell limbs. He didn't have to sell limbs on offense, so that's much better. But he does sell, like, the usual head attacks, the usual, like, slams much better. And then his best moment, it's a submission move. It's his prison lock. Then Wagner flips him off. That's his best spot. For the spot of the match, it's when Dupree and Wagner were setting up for an outside dive. So Dupree was doing all the pointing stuff. Wagner ran and then did like a tope suicida to the outside, but it was grossly miscalculated. You're doing a tope suicida to the outside on two dudes, one of them who is wider and like more muscular than you, while the other is like fairly large himself. So they just catch Wagner and slam him on the apron. This took him out for a while. And then Dupree tried to do his own outside dive. And this is what makes this the spot of the match for me. Because Dupree does this outside dive. And then he just slams on both of them and then falls to the floor. While both of his opponents are still standing. Again, miscalculation, but this looked really nice. Fucking bounced off Elgin and Kitamiya. Yeah, so this had me on the edge of my seat as well. But if that juniors tag team match ended just a little bit better, that would have still been my match of the night. But because it didn't, this is my match of the night so far without seeing the main event. So the finish is they do a doomsday device, but instead of the electric chair position, Elgin holds Wagner up in an Elgin bomb, and then Kitamiya goes for the clothesline part of the move for the 3 count. It's kind of early for these guys to win the titles. I would have preferred Dupree and Wagner to hold it a little bit longer, because I think they just held it for like 14 days and they won it against two wrestlers who are portrayed very strong. And I just like thought they would hold it a little bit longer, have the new team like work a little bit more for it. And I still don't agree with the result, but the match quality here overshadowed my dislike for the result. So really good match. This was a pay-per-view main event level match. This is match of the night so far without seeing the main event yet. And now, for the main event of the evening, we have a 6-man tag team match between the team of Naomichi Marufuji, Satoshi Kojima, and the returning Keiji Muta, who had a video package, but I didn't understand anything. There were no subtitles, so get on that. Against the team of Masato Tanaka, Kaito Kiyomiya, and man-made Noah himself. Noah in human form. The GHC heavyweight champion. He wears Misawa colors, and he isn't even hiding it. Go, Shozaki. Okay, so this match here is the best 6-man tag team match I've seen so far in Noah. You have like the best psychologist, the best in-ring psychologist you have right there in the same match. Like all 6 of these people. And the old guys here fucking didn't look that bad. Actually, Kojima managed to work the same pace as Go does, while like Masato Tanaka is fucking fast for his age. He like does this thing. I'm just gonna show you a video here. He does this. And then the difference of having Kaito Kiyomiya in the match as compared to the others with Yoshiki Inamura and Daiki Inaba. Yeah, it's night and day. This one was amazing. So this starts out with Shiozaki and Kojima in the ring. They start slow. They like do minimal things actually, and then they tag out to Kiyomiya and Muta. And this is where the story plays out. So basically, Kiyomiya gets beaten up for like a long time. This guy eats it from all 3 members before he manages to get a tag. But this guy also just wants to get his hands on the 59-year-old grandpa Keiji Muta. Soon enough, I think he will. I think Kaito's gonna be the one to retire Muta. And Muta is like not that bad actually. He can't sell as much as he can back in the day, but he's like 59 now and his mobility is like a bit limited. His Shining Wizard looks kind of bad, but the other things he does on offense are like pretty good. Like just like the crossface he does on Kiyomiya, and how edge of my seat this got me. And then he managed to tag in Masato Tanaka, who like turned back the years in this match. Just for a little while, because he wasn't in the ring for like a long time. He tags out to Kiyomiya, and then Kiyomiya just gets on Muta again. He's looking to pin him as revenge for like dropping the title to him, and then yeah, he goes for a missile dropkick and then a cattle mutilation, which Muta sells poorly. I thought he was like already fading, and I thought that this was going to be the end of the match, but no. Noah is not going to give us the conclusion to this story here. Marufuji breaks it up, leading to Muto finally gaining back control and hitting Kaito with a Shining Wizard poorly. So this is it. This is where it peaks, like right after this, when they tag in Go Shiozaki and Satoshi Kojima. And again, we get a preview of the Cyber Fight main event here. Lots of fucking hard chops that are fucking loud. I'm just gonna play a video here with like the audio on regular, just so you can hear the chops. And then this is followed by a sort of symmetrical like move sequence here, because we get a multi-man move, followed by big move Fisherman Suplex, and then a big move DDT by Kojima, and then another multi-man move that's actually more devastating than what Go's team did, because they fucking knock his ass with a Shining Wizard that looked better. And then for the finish, this is the peak of the match's storytelling. After that sequence of like devastating moves by Kojima's team, Kojima sizes Go up for the finish, but Go like resists by chopping him as Kojima's running towards him. Like he does this twice, but on the third, they do a double lariat and then Go fades again, just like in the previous Dream On. Like he falls, Kojima beats him in lariats once again, and then they bait us in thinking that Kojima's gonna get the win again. He's gonna lariat Go, and then he's gonna get another pinfall win just to make him look more formidable. But no, he goes for his lariat, but instead Go hits one himself on the running Kojima. It's like how Kojima won the match for his team in the previous Dream On show, where he did this exact same thing to Inaba. This isn't the most impactful lariat because Go wasn't running, but this like visually was alright and believable that it could finish off Kojima. So after this, Muto sits on the stage, is kind of pissed off about losing his comeback match, and then he leaves. And after this, Go cuts the promo towards Kojima to hype up their match on Cyber Fight. He raises the belt, leaves the arena, and that was pretty much the show. And yeah, this was a fucking pay-per-view level show. It was the end of a tour, but yeah, it was... I don't know how these shows are valued yet, like that much. Because in New Japan, like it's clearly like road to something and then big show. But here, like there are a lot of things. It's like tour, multiple shows of the same name, and it's kind of confusing. It's like the DDT show, with like the number after it. It's kind of weird still. I actually don't know where to start with DDT because of this problem right here. But yeah, I might start with the next one they have coming on the 27th. So yeah, overall, this show was really fucking good. The first match was the only one that I didn't like as a match. But yeah, from the second onwards, this was like strong showings from everyone. And even if this didn't have a world title match at the end, I think this is superior to Majestic. Yeah, this is better than Majestic. And about that, I had a review of it like as my first video, but it was a shit video, and I think it turned off a lot of people from the channel. It had like 99 views and like no one subscribed from it. It was like a piece of garbage. And so yeah, like, comment, and subscribe for engagement. Hit that bell notification for updates to future videos. And don't share if you know me. So yeah, bye-bye.